What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and you are watching Ojeda Live.
Countdown achieved. It's time for Ojeda Live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Ojeda Live. I have the same shirt on as last night because we had to pre-record these videos one right after the other. So once again, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. You know that I'm on the campaign trail and doing everything in my power to try to flip this seat from red to blue and make it to Washington, D.C. so I can push legislation that's going to benefit people all across this country. So that's what my goal is, and I'm going to continue working hard to try to make that happen. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on the first video.
President, the Pope, from a approval standpoint, who's better positioned right now in the United States among American Catholics?
You know, maybe President Trump is jealous of Pope Leo XIV because it is a blowout. It is a blowout, and this is just the American public at large, John. Look at this. It is a blowout on the net popularity rating. Pope Leo XIV at plus 34. Look at where Donald Trump is at minus 12. It's not even close. It's a nearly 50-point blowout amongst the American public at large. Pope Leo XIV absolutely crushing President Trump when it comes to how popular they are, at least as of the last month. And I will note that Pope Leo was the most popular person tested by NBC News. I believe the president is making a humongous mistake going after the most popular guy in America, at least well-known guy.
Question is, why is this man smiling here? How about among American Catholics?
Yeah, that's right. There's a reason why the Pope is smiling there. How about among American Catholics? President Trump is struggling with American Catholics. Look at this. Maybe this is part of the reason why he's going after the Pope. U.S. Catholics on Trump. You know, you go back to November of 2024. Look at this. President Trump crushed Kamala Harris by 20 points. But down he goes into the Dead Sea. Look at this, minus 4 points. That's a nearly 25-point switcheroo in the wrong direction. The president has been struggling with Catholics. And I must say, in my expert opinion, I'm not quite sure that going after the Pope is the way to recover with Catholics.
Hey, look,
So let me tell you a little something. Do you want to know what Catholic priests don't do? Catholic priests don't spew the seed philosophy. Catholic priests don't walk around wearing $3,000 suits and driving Mercedes-Benz. That's a fact. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and I can remember the only times that the Catholic Church would ever say anything other than just, of course, they passed the plate around one time every Mass. And we're not talking about, $20,000 a pop. We're talking maybe, I don't know, let's say $1,000. It's still not that much when you're talking about, a church bringing money in. I remember the priest lived in a small house right behind the church. And every time a new priest would come in, they just inherited the old junker car, the old house, and if they needed something, I remember they needed like a deep freezer because the deep freezer had died, and they got with the few people in the church, and the few people in the church bought a deep freezer. But this whole, I drive a Mercedes-Benz and I own a jet airliner because God loves me, and if you give me your money, maybe God will love you too. So Catholics don't play that. And I'm going to tell you that Pope Leo is a person that we should absolutely adore. He is the first pope from the United States of America. And he preaches love. And Donald Trump doesn't like that, because Donald Trump doesn't like to preach love because he has none in him. Donald Trump has never felt love. You think Melania really loves him? Do you think she loved him when they first got together? No, she saw his bank account. Donald Trump's parents were not good parents. If you read a few books about Donald Trump, you'll find that Donald Trump's mother literally had very little to do with Donald Trump, because they believe that the father raises the sons, the mother raises the daughters. So I don't even know if Donald Trump's actually felt love in his life. And that's a sad thing. But it doesn't give him a pass to do what he does. And for him to sit and scream and spew hatred towards the Pope, let me tell you something, not a winning move. Not a winning move at all. Never will be a winning move. And one of Pete Hegseth's secretaries has literally said that the Pope and the Vatican had better start, being careful, like a threat, like a threat. If you're threatening the Pope, if you're threatening the Vatican, you are on the wrong side of this fight. And make no mistake about it, any aggression done towards the Vatican will not benefit this country, ever, ever. We've got a bunch of war-hungry psychopaths. And that's exactly what Pete Hegseth, and that's exactly what daggone Donald Trump are. They're psychopaths, sociopaths, psychopaths. That's who they are. Death excites them. Hurting people makes them happy. They literally dream about torturing. And if you once again listen to that video of that Sasha kid talking about what happened with Donald Trump at a party where Donald Trump asked to kill somebody. And they said, that's not this kind of party, dude. But they had some puppies that they needed to get rid of. And he said that Donald Trump killed each one of them differently. He held one underwater until it drowned. He cut one open and let it lay there and cry while it bled to death. He snapped one's neck. Now, once again, this is an interview from a guy by the name of Sasha who tells a lot of stories about being in that Epstein, part. He was one of those kids that were preyed on. And I don't care what anybody says. It would not put it past Donald Trump because Donald Trump doesn't have that capability within him. He has not the ability to show true love. He didn't even love Ivanka. He lusted after Ivanka because that's the type of man that he is. I saw something recently that said Joe Kent, who was in the Trump administration and resigned because he said, there is no reason for us to go into this war with Iran. Joe Kent's basically saying that whatever they were telling everybody to start this war was lies. But now he said that the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania was faked. Now, he was in the administration, and he was in the inside of this administration. And if he's coming out saying that the assassination of Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania was faked, what does that say? And just know that there was a man that was killed right behind Donald Trump. But once again, the flag. And they literally held him down while they moved the flag over. I mean, why would they not have immediately tackled Donald Trump and drug him off that stage? They stayed there while they moved the flag over. And I don't give a shit what anybody has to say. You can believe it or not. I don't care. I personally think that I would not put it past Donald Trump. And I'm going to tell you this as a person who absolutely knows he did not get shot in the ear. And if you think your ear grows back, you're a moron. A moron. Look at these people walking around with these big old gauges in their damn ear. And their damn ears, when they take those gauges out, hang to their damn shoulders. Think that stuff's going to go back? Nope, it's not. That's going to be like that for the rest of their lives. We already know that he was not shot in the ear. And it definitely didn't grow back. Joe Kent was part of this administration who is also saying that Iran had no ability to attack us. There was no ability. This was Netanyahu finally finding a useful idiot in Donald Trump to commit to war so they can do what they're doing. And oh, by the way, they didn't stop at Gaza. They're just continuing to try to push people off of their lands and take from them. Trump just attacked Iran because Netanyahu wanted it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to end up being the downfall of the United States of America. Sad. but that's the path that we are on. The senior member of the Armed Services Committee, Representative Garamendi, demolished Donald Trump after sitting in on a classified briefing. He come out and he said, the man is crazy. He has a mental problem. He really does. Trump's too stupid to understand alliances or adversaries. He's an idiot. And that's the thing, is that Donald Trump looks at our adversaries, which is North Korea, China, and Russia, as his friends. And the very people that have stood with us since World War II, he has done nothing but shit on, throw stones at, talk negatively about, threaten, and yeah. And I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's going to happen with us as far as the free world goes. You know, we got to get rid of Donald Trump, and we got to really make a lot of moves that's going to show that we're worthy, that we are worthy to be brought back into the fold. Because we don't just get to say, okay, guys, we're back in power. Nope. Nope. Because Germany is leading the free world. France, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. These are places that are leading the free world. That is an absolute fact. And we are on our way out because we not only elected a buffoon, but we turned right around and put him right back in office. And he has done nothing but destroy. And it's not going to get better. The gas prices are not going to get better. You know, I spoke to a long haul truck driver the other day. I was in a neighborhood knocking on doors, and I stuck my stuff in the door because the door didn't open, but I knocked. And about, I don't know, 2 minutes later, this woman comes walking up to me and she says, hey, I just want to ask you a question. And she wanted to ask about Donald Trump and things going on. And she told me, she's like, I'm a long haul truck driver. She says, I'm scared. She says, I'm scared I'm going to lose my job. Because apparently, like for her, if she's needed, they call her to drive. But right now, companies are basically, you know, they're like trying to do everything they can to not have to spend as much money because of the gas prices. And it's affecting her work. And she's worried. Hey, MAGA, this is what you voted for. Gas and food prices are up. I'm on live. Oh, I love you, baby. Gas and food prices are up. American citizens are losing their health care. They kill school lunches. Corruption is rampant, and we are in an illegal war. The entire administration is corrupt. Americans are being terrorized in our streets, children stolen from their families, incompetency at every level. And this is exactly what you got. And I look at this and I say to myself, did they really want this? Because this is exactly what they got. And it's absolutely horrible. The whole school lunches things, that there's nothing that angers me more, because I spent 4 years in the high school classroom level. And I watched kids that if you didn't give them a free breakfast or lunch, they wasn't going to eat that day. And now they're taking that away. They're doing everything in their power to take that away. And oh, by the way, by doing that, you take away free lunches. How are kids going to be able to focus on the studies at hand when they're too worried that their stomach is going to growl and they're going to get made fun of? Sad. So Trump keeps saying that Obama's deal with Iran was horrible. Let's compare. Under President Obama's Iran deal, no Americans were killed. No Iranians were killed. No bases were destroyed. No U.S. aircraft or ships destroyed. No money spent on war. Iran's uranium enrichment levels never exceeded 3.67%. Okay? Trump killed that deal, which now has Iran at 60% enrichment levels. Remember, they were just 3.6% under Obama. 3.6% under Obama, 60% under Trump. That's not good. We're talking enrichment levels. 15 Americans have died. Over 700 have been wounded. And folks, I'm telling you, I think that the numbers are probably higher. I honestly have this feeling because this is exactly what Vladimir Putin did when they went into Ukraine. A lot of Russians got killed, and Putin and them stopped even bringing the bodies back because Putin knew that coffins coming back to Moscow would not be a winning look for him. So they left a lot of people in Ukraine. And I'm telling you right now, nothing would surprise me about the numbers of people that were injured being far more. And I would hope to think that we wouldn't hide the number of deaths. 13 U.S. bases have been destroyed or badly damaged. These are bases that were in United Arab Emirates, in Kuwait, in Qatar, places like that. Over 30 aircraft have been lost. One aircraft carrier damaged, and $45 billion already spent on this war. MAGA calls Obama's deal a disaster because they just spew whatever stupidity Donald Trump tells them to spew. That is an absolute fact. And like, when this is over with, MAGA is going to disappear. MAGA is going to hide every single Trump piece of shit that they own. They're going to hide it because it's going to get to the point where people walking around wearing MAGA shirts are going to be scared to walk around wearing MAGA shirts because everybody in this damn country that didn't support this orange jackaloon is going to be struggling greatly. And let me tell you something. Do you know who's going to struggle the most? The MAGA jackaloon. Because the MAGA jackaloon, most of them don't even have a job. They're the people that are going to scream about young light brown to dark brown people on government assistance while every freaking one of them are on a damn welfare check. You know, I'm telling you, I know people like this. I know people like this that scream about anybody getting anything from the government, but they draw a check. They just don't like other people to be able to have anything, especially people of color. Even, you know, they'll gladly hold their hands out for a welfare check and then make fun of somebody that is not white that draws a welfare check. You know, it's hard to believe where we are in this country. But when you look at these people out here, it's pretty easy to see. Trump is dismantling the Forest Service. All regional officers are being shut down. Not only is this dangerous for fire issues, but it is probably doing this to allow corporations to start destroying our forests for mining. I'm telling you, folks, this is a horrible thing. And let me tell you something. I would believe that California is smarter than this. I believe it without a doubt. I know that Gavin Newsom is way smarter. But I hope that this does not hurt the abilities to be able to fight wildfires. Now, with Donald Trump, he doesn't care. If California burned to the ground tomorrow, Donald Trump, he wouldn't even show up to throw paper towels at people because Donald Trump doesn't think that way. Donald Trump is mentally unhinged, and Donald Trump thinks that states that are ran by blue governors deserve to be burnt down. The people deserve to suffer. That's who Donald Trump is, and that's the way he is. And the wildfires in California are unlike wildfires anywhere else. And I mean, you know, I grew up in West Virginia, and there were lots of times, every year, there were forest fires. Fires get started by lightning strikes and things like that. But I mean, you know, even as a kid, we'd go up in the mountains and just, you know, try to make fire breaks and stuff like that. We did that stuff as kids. Hell, I can remember running up in the mountain and just stomping fires out, It's just like we was, but it's nothing like it is in California. We don't have gusts of winds that go up to 90 miles an hour that will literally take a wildfire and move across an acre of land in a second and burn everything to the ground. Uh, so something like this, there's also potentially a cruel reason why Donald Trump does this. And maybe it's so California could suffer during the wildfires. But once again, folks, remember he's supposed to be the president of the United States. And the last time I looked, California was in the United States and deserves any assistance that our government can provide to the constituents of Donald Trump, because every American in this country is a constituent of Donald Trump, regardless of the way that they voted. And wouldn't it be nice if these people who finally get into office finally realize that the decisions that they make are for everybody? Melania Trump thinks Americans are stupid. She's trying to distance herself from Epstein, when there are plenty of photos that show that she's not telling the truth. So, is she also trying to get in front of a book that is about to be released that says Epstein and Prince Andrew may have been with Melania long before Donald Trump was, and that they are all surprised that Trump married her? This is a book that's supposed to be coming out in the United Kingdom that says Prince Andrew and Epstein used to mess around with her, and literally talking surprised in this book because why would he take their sloppy seconds? You know what I'm saying? And that was the term. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, by all means, she can say what she want. It's no different than Donald Trump. We just met a couple times. There's nobody that's photographed more with Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump. And you know what? Melania's in a lot of those pictures. A lot of those pictures. A lot of those parties. They were at a lot of those parties. Did Melania, who supposedly got into this country with an Einstein visa because she was so intelligent, could speak 6 languages and all this other stuff, didn't she realize that Donald Trump was who Donald Trump was? You do know she's not happy. She's not happy. Look at her with Donald Trump. She's not happy. She hates him. She too wakes up every morning and wonders, is he gone? I guarantee it. Look at how they interact with one another. She hates holding his hand. She's smart enough for that to see that he is the biggest buffoon ever. Let's check out those memes of the day that John's got. The 9th Congressional District, United States Representative Richard Hudson's district, stretches from the edge of the Triad into the Sandhills. Trump's net approval in this district is -7 after winning it by 16 points. Folks, let me tell you something. That right there is music to my ears. And it should be music to everybody's ears that's ready for this Trump administration to go. My opponent, Richard Hudson, yep, he won the last race. But I'm telling you right now, people are waking up. Unaffiliated voters are tired of this bullshit. Independent voters are tired of Donald Trump. The Democrats are fired up and motivated, and they're showing up in places that we have never seen numbers like this before. They did a No Kings rally down here in Southern Pines. And this is not a major city. No King, over 3,000 people showed up to the No Kings rallies. Folks, I'm telling you, 10 years ago, you would have never seen anything like this. But the people of this country are done. They're sick and tired of being used and abused by people that don't give 2 shits about them and only care about their own damn bank accounts. And that's the reason why we're in so much trouble. And that's the reason why it's going to take so long after this nightmare is over for us to fix this. Because what you don't see is behind the scenes, the things that they're doing. That Project 2025 is actually following through. And it's horrible. And that's why when we win this, nobody can mess around. The Democrats had better freaking get shit done. because if we don't, we'll lose this again in the next 2 to 4 years. If we want to hang on to power in Washington, D.C., then we have got to put the people first. And I'm going to tell you right now, this guy here, Richard Hudson, he ain't never put the people first. This guy don't even show up down here. People down in this district don't even know what he looks like. He don't return phone calls because he doesn't think he has to. I'm going to make him get off of his backside and come down here and have to friggin' campaign. And everybody already knows. Whenever they see him, they're going to go, look, everybody, there's Richard Hudson. The only reason why he is down here campaigning is because he's scared that he's going to finally lose his seat because he's never done it before. He's never come down here and campaigned before. I've seen him in this district one time since last February. And it was like during the Christmas parade, this last one that went by. And he stood in front of a bunch of people taking pictures, standing in the middle of the road. And I don't even think he did the parade. I think he got in a car and left because I have yet to talk to anybody that actually saw him going through the parade. Because he feels he doesn't have to. He doesn't need to. Why? Because he's got Trump. He doesn't have the time to come down here and have town halls, but he's got time to do a town hall up there in Washington, D.C., where him and Mike Johnson present Donald Trump with another golden calf. He can hand out participation trophies, but he can't show up down here. And the thing is everybody's seeing it. The Democrats are seeing it. The independents are seeing it. The unaffiliated are seeing it. And hey, Richard Hudson, Republicans are seeing it too. I've got Republicans speaking positively about my campaign. And since you won't do no town halls, I'm going to do town halls. And I'm going to invite your Republican constituents to those town halls. Because why? Because you never had the courage to. And let me tell you something. Leadership involves courage. Because in leadership roles, you've got to make decisions sometimes that may not be the most popular, but you've did the research to make sure that they're the best decision to move forward with. That's what leadership is. Leadership doesn't sit down and bow down to a man who's in the Oval Office who is clearly insane. As much as I hate saying that, because I want him to be held accountable. But make no mistake about it, when the time comes, all of these people will be saying, well, we couldn't do anything. We had to support him because of cowardice. And the way I look at it, folks, if you're a coward, you have no business being in Congress. Period. Y'all be good to each other, and we'll see you tomorrow. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.